Yeah?
Are you shocked that she would ask you to sleep in the same room, or are you just incapable of handling social interactions? Come on, man, they can't not only use this line as a cliffhanger for this episode, but also the lead-in for the intro for this one. That's just lazy on a whole new level. And this isn't even the only time they do it.
Why would she want me to sleep in here with her?
Actually, though, that is a fabulous question, because yeah, if she did want to just get her money's worth for this trip, then it does make literally no sense to have him stay, especially when he made it clear he has no desire to stay in here, and they are very, very clearly not going for her having some feelings for him, so this decision does come off as absolutely bizarre.
Come to me.
I know it's just your fantasy, bro, but really? Is that your first conclusion? Not that she just doesn't see a problem with it because of the natural boundaries of your relationship? Again, writers, this isn't a good moment. It's pretty bad. Is that supposed to be a kick in the balls? It looks like it, and in that case, what fucking martial art teaches you to do a side kick to the balls? You do a front kick to the balls. That's why the front kick exists. And obviously you can do any kick, but then it begs the question, if she's so well trained, why she would just resort to this kick, since they do about equal damage, and the sidekick setup is less inherently designed to kick someone in the cock.
I only said you could sleep in here with me because I'd feel bad making you sleep in the hallway.
He didn't say he was gonna go sleep in the hallway, he said he was gonna go sleep in the bathroom. Again, this line is so easy to fix if you just pay attention to what you said in the previous episode, and the fact that they just don't is just completely lazy, man.
All the services they pay for.
What?
Dude, why do you sound so surprised? She's talking about the goddamn hot spring, not the rental GF agency. You didn't book there.
With a brutal response.
I mean, I do agree that sufficient self-defense training would likely let her defeat Kazuya's very basic fighting style we saw on the beach. He did swim her all the way to shore from that ferry, so I somehow doubt he would go down as easily as she, and by extension, the show thinks he would. But I guess that's the problem with not explaining how a character got from point A to point B.
Why'd you go to such lengths to save me on the beach when I wasn't breathing? I mean, I'm just a client.
Pro answering his own question. Fun fact, leading to the deaths of your clients by your own incompetence is a one-way ticket to Firedville, as well as getting a side of a horrible reputation for future employment options. What else did you think she was gonna do? Just let you die just because you're a dickhead? Use your brain, man! You went to more fucking lengths than she did. The writers just didn't show it and assumed just because they didn't show it, the audience wouldn't think it existed.
And what she said before about self-defense, maybe she's had to face some dangerous situations in her life.
I mean, people learn self-defense just in case, not necessarily as a response to something that previously happened in their lives. But I guess Kazuya's never taken a self-defense class, so he wouldn't know the reasons people go to them. But you'd still think this would just be common sense. Like, why does he do business? Is he super confident he'll be the CEO of a company? No, he just does it because he thinks it's useful.
She's 1,000 times more mature than I am. Stronger. Kinder. More courageous.
That's because you have no critical thinking skills, man. That being said, the traits he lists right after have nothing to do with maturity. Sure, as you age, those traits will develop, but there are mature people who aren't strong, aren't courageous, aren't kind. It's just a fact. Because maturity and personality are not the same thing. And wow, I feel stupid reading that sentence from the script.
I mean, I get it that I'm a total piece of trash and a problem client on top of that.
I don't really think that the trait of being a problem client is an "on top of" being a piece of trash. Just think it as a trait you have, and the fact that you're a problem client is a symptom of your core issue of being a piece of trash. Some other symptoms include talking to people about your fake relationship while they're trying to sleep, lying to all your friends and family about your relationship status, and more.
You have nothing to gain by continuing to let me rent you out.
Okay, this line makes no sense, because she clearly has something to gain by continuing to let him rent her out. You know, money? What this business is all about? Like, how does he still not contemplate that the reason for this business's existence is to generate profits? It actually is so insane that they made him a business student. Like, what he said before was fine, but this just adds nothing and makes him look really dumb.
It's like what happened on the ferry. I felt like I became a different guy.
Not really, right? Like, you made an impulsive decision that happened to be selfless this time instead of selfish. Like the decision to introduce her as your girlfriend to your family, and your decision to yell at her, and plenty of others.
If you would allow me.
I think it's funny how he says, if you would allow me, as if she has much choice in the matter. Like, if she keeps denying him, then she will slowly get drained of her income stream, and that's even assuming she's even allowed to deny him in the first place. Come on, does he really have to dab his eyes after that speech? It makes it so much more cringe, because that makes it clear the writers think it would have brought tears to your eyes, when in actuality, when I first watched it, I just kind of went, well, they've done worse, and now I hate it because it symbolizes one of the main issues with the show.
You can rent me out for just a little while longer.
For a little while longer. For the love of God, do these writers understand how shit like this goes on as long as it does? It does, because everyone involved goes, okay, we'll do it for a little while longer, and then stop. But every time they're at the end of that little while, they don't have the balls to make it stop, because they never did before, so it gets harder and harder and harder to do it, because you waited so very long. Like, just rip the band-aid. You clearly have nothing to gain from this, so just give it up.
And we have to do it in a way that doesn't hurt anyone.
No shit, Sherlock, but of course it won't, and here's the greater issue. The longer you wait, the longer everyone will become attached to you as a couple, and therefore the more hurt they'll be when they hear the breakup news. Like, think about it in your own life. Who do you feel more sympathy for? A guy who lost a girl he'd been dating for a couple of days, or one who lost a girl who he'd been dating for a couple of months? Like, this perspective is just the wrong one in the situation, and it pisses me off because it shows how little thought went into the scene.
And the best way to do that would be for you to get yourself a real girlfriend.
One episode off, guys! One episode off! The moment where the show accidentally digs all the way to China. I know that isn't where you'd end up if you dug straight down from Japan, but from my research, I would think it would be Brazil, but I'm not 100% sure. With lines like these, just ruining the midpoint of the next episode, which already has a terrible setup.
Your growth as a person has a lot riding on it.
To be honest, I think it's the other way around, since if it's this way around, you're assuming that as he currently is, he's able to get a girlfriend, which raises the question why he would even change if he's perfectly fine as he is. Whereas if you assume he needs to change to get one, then that makes a lot more sense. So, I don't really know what she's trying to say here. You'd think they'd put it the other way around, but...
For you anyway, you horny bastard.
Also, I really like this delivery.
Telling all your friends about us was not part of the plan, dumbass.
Then why did you come to campus as his girlfriend, follow him to his friends, and play along? This is why I hate when the show cuts in mid-conversation and then poses questions that make the cut-in points seem fucking stupid. Because it's this thing of trying to have your cake and eat it too, where you need characters to act like idiots for the plot you want to happen, you know, to occur, but then you don't want the audience to think they're idiots. So you just try and have it both ways, which means you have it neither way.
Congrats! Such great news! That's terrific!
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the assassination of Kibe, who went once from a very smart and capable advisory figure to a joke about the fact that he wants Kazuya to get with Chizuru, yet is super jealous. Oh boy, thank you so much, writers. I don't despise you, for legal purposes.
So obnoxious.
Is this moment supposed to make me think that Mami is losing it? Because if so, man, you guys fucked that up. I mean, my goodness, it is objectively obnoxious to show your girlfriend off in the middle of a university classroom. Like, that's a fact. And the fact the show thinks it isn't either shows how out of touch the writers are, or shows that that isn't what they were going for here. But then if that's the case, what were they going for here?
But I can see we're going to have to institute some ground rules.
Didn't you try that last time? And didn't it fail, like, really miserably? This is just funny to me, how Chizuru has so little character that they just have her try and do the same thing as in episode 2, and don't realize that it holds a lot less weight this time, since Kazuya broke the previous ground rules left, right, and center. So I can't imagine he'll obey these ones.
Mizuhara is the bomb when she's in girlfriend mode.
Yo, there's the old R.A.G classic, where Kazuya describes the character we can see on screen in great detail to pad some time. Anime is visual media, so you don't need to describe characters' physical features. And the problem with saying, it's just for giving Kazuya more character, I'd say it would work just as well, if not better, if he didn't describe the specific features in great detail. And furthermore, the extra runtime they would gain from shortening this could be used to develop him far better.
It's just that here I am again with you on a date I had to pay you for.
Seriously, dude. For the love of God, you do need to at some point realize that moping around will never help you, and keeping this scheme going will only hamper your ability to get a girlfriend. So, how about you just rip the freaking band-aid already?
Hey, how about watching where you're going, you clumsy...
Come on, this is stupidity to a new level. Finish the job while you look, man. That way it's less obvious. At least if you're yelling, it's less obvious you're having a look. The fact that you stop makes it ridiculously obvious that you're doing it, and it led to a pretty obvious reaction from her. Like, seriously, try in the middle of a conversation with someone, just stopping talking and looking somewhere. They will look in that place.
You perv.
So funnily enough, the show had actually been pretty good at first lines, but this is an absolutely terrible one for Ruka, considering her whole fucking thing shortly after season 1 episode 7 is just trying to get him to pervert her as much as humanly possible. So having her line be chiding him for it is just absolutely bizarre. Not a good omen for things to come, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Umi.
Gotta at least give him props for setting up Umi. Shame the payoff of his first appearance as well.
Usually has no luck at all when it comes to girls.
So here's a question. Why did you say you were coming last place at life back in episode 2? If your mate has had no luck at all and you managed to get one girlfriend who dumped you, then wouldn't you still have been beating him in your stupid scale? But again, I know the writers don't pay attention to small things like, I don't know, their own continuity when there's boring generic drama to be had. Dude, let's be real. If our margin for awkward girl for Curry to be with is Kazuya stared at her for way too long and made her uncomfortable, then his girlfriend would pretty much have to be a girl who just moved here, considering his past behavior.
Just look at that cute face, and check out those long legs too.
And it's back! Him doing a tediously long description of a potential love interest. Also note that the phrase he just said does come back, and also that could be a tip-off. Don't get me wrong, Curry definitely could have got a hot girlfriend, and I wouldn't jump to conclusions, but if I were Kazuya, I would watch for the rental GF mannerisms to see if Ruka has them. So just having what feel like canned responses to questions, the guy not having as much potential fear about the comments he makes, you know, stuff like that.
She's a hottie on equal footing with Mizuhara.
Well, so that line does come off as weird to me, considering throughout the rest of the show it is made clear that Chizuru does seem more attractive in not only Kazuya's eyes, but also his family and most other people. So this does make no sense. And to be clear, they use that line with Sumi too, but the difference is Sumi is not really competing for him, and therefore it's fine there. But for a character who after this episode is very, very clearly competing for Kazuya's affection, this line does come off as weird.
Nothing.
So then why the hell did you give him the death stare? Was this supposed to be her being awkward now that Ruka's here, or is this supposed to be her being jealous of their meetup, or trying to make sure he stops staring at Ruka? Like, what's the end game here? Again, so many questions, so few answers. Partially because they wasted half this goddamn episode on a stupid hot spring arc.
Now I get it. What a calculated plan, you scheming rat.
I mean, I know, he really had to work so hard to beat your ingenious plan of stopping mid-sentence to check a girl out. I mean, how does one do that?
Damn it! Why do I have to be so lame at everything?
Dude, I have been asking you that for a while. Oh wait, you meant sports, not critical thinking, didn't you? And besides, you can't be lame at swimming since you swam Chizuru to shore, so if you were to go on another double date, just take him to a pool with 50 kilograms and then we'll see who the lame one is.
At least I'm not the only one.
Is that look of pure glee supposed to be relatable? Because I'm sorry to the animators, but most people get glee out of that, but it isn't usually that blatant. And it's a shame because the line works, but the animation makes him look like a total asshole.
Never thought that you and I would be out on a double date with two total hotties.
I mean, it's cool the idea that the implication here is that Curry's thinking, I hope he doesn't find out I rented Ruka to match Chizuru, but since they never bothered to explore this episode after it has ended, this is just kind of left out to dry, so we don't really know if this is really the implication here.
You're not hot.
That is stupid on like 3 different levels. 1, that makes it pretty fucking obvious you have a rental girlfriend, doesn't it, bro? 2, why would you insult your friend when you're trying to get useful information out of him? Why not say something more like, so, how did you two meet? You know, because that's what the friend group asked you. with Chizuru, so it would seem natural, and you would be able to either find out if he has a rental too, or at least maybe get some inadvertent dating advice. And 3, because of levels 1 and 2, there is like a 0% chance he would ever answer you. So now you just look like a dick. Like, I know he's supposed to be upset, but you have to be pretty mad at your friend to be this much of an asshole to them. Holy shit, man, I hate this line.
Are you gonna cheat on Chizuru?
And there's another issue with that line as well, that I didn't mention before intentionally. The way he decided to ask that, he thinks she's your girlfriend, you plank. Like, who the fucking hell would ask a guy how to get a hot girlfriend when he already has one? Like, that just makes no sense, and could most certainly give the game away.
Oh, that's okay.
Bro, you do realize that even though she knows that the other two are gone, they could come back, and you moping around is only gonna make her have to do more work to sell this. Like, Jesus, man, you've got your advice, now play along and get through this day. Are you losing it?
What do you mean?
There are only so many times I can say Kazi has no critical thinking and the writers are stupid for thinking that is a good personality quirk, before I feel like my existence is just becoming completely and utterly pointless.
Hey, Corey, I'm gonna give it another shot.
Is it really necessary to tell him? Can't you just go and give it another shot and not point it out to him, you know, like a normal person? I guess he isn't normal, so what do I know?
Chizuru, are you a rental girlfriend?
Is that legal? Like, under their employment contract, are they even allowed to point out other rentals randomly? My gut says no, but my brain says the writers probably don't even know what an employment contract is, though I am leaning on no mostly because Chizuru said she would complain to Ruka's agency in the next episode, but that still doesn't explain whether or not she was just angry or whether or not it was a genuine part of the contract.
And nothing I did could have given it away.
Not really. It's just pretty obvious that you two are a rental couple if you know what a rental girlfriend is. I mean, Kazuya is a pathetic loser with a well-off family, and Chizuru acts like the perfect girlfriend all the time. Like, that is the most obvious rental couple you could dream up with. And so anyone who knew anything about them could work this out in a way that would be the equivalent of solving a riddle you've already solved.
Oh, no worries. I've gotta hit the restroom too.
Wait, he's right over there? How the fuck did he not hear Kazuya's yelling about the fact that the whole school will know by dinner time? Did the writers just forget how sound works? Like, fun fact, if someone is yelling 5 meters away from you, you can hear them very clearly.
She's going for it?
To be fair, this is the best time to see if she'll tell, since this would probably be your last chance, since odds are Curry will be here for the rest of the double date, then Ruka and him will be gone, so while it seems reckless, it is still the best option to defuse this. Weddy can't work this out, though.
Let's see you kissing.
I figured I may as well ask this now, but why does Ruka care? Like, literally, why does she care? She says over and over throughout the latter half of Season 1 that Curry was just a client in her eyes, and she doesn't like Kazuya yet, so she has no reason to try and come after Chizuru. This just seems like the writers thought the twist of Ruka being a rental was such a good twist, they need to try and really sell it to you that Curry and Ruka were dating for real. And yes, I know she gives a justification next episode, but oh boy, are we gonna dig into that one.
Whoa, 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 whoa! What's with that look in your eyes?
So this is a good moment to show Chizuru as cool, calm, and collected, since that's what the show likes to try and push as one of her most prominent character traits. The problem is, they contradict it all the time, which we have got to a little bit, but we will continue to get to throughout the show. Okay, I know he's Kazuya, but if you want to throw her off the scent, just do it for real. That way she might actually reconsider, although I guess she could ultimately just look it up if she isn't sure, and I would most certainly not want Kazuya's germs on my lips, so I guess this makes some sense. Just probably a better way to achieve this plan, because this half-kiss doesn't actually accomplish anything, because she, as she points out actually, she didn't see it. So it's just the same as you telling her that you've kissed before.
Oh, jeez. We've gotta get out of here.
I mean, that is the impulse reaction, but the obvious issue is if you leave those two alone, there's a high chance she'll just blab and you can't stop her. And also, why he thinks it's a good idea to just send Chizuru away is pretty freaking dumb, because then there's just one less person there, and now he specifically has to tail them both, which looks weirder than both of them just walking home together.
That was awkward, but it had to be done.
So the use of the word have to makes me need to bring this up, but this is not probably the most logical move. Keeping the two of them around is definitely better, because at bare minimum it adds more faces to potentially play on a guilt trip, since presently she has all the leverage, so just sending one person away just doesn't do anything. Unless he really thinks that he can handle this himself, which he very clearly can't, because he hasn't handled it at all so far.
Nothing beats having a girl.
This is such a clunky line, both because it seems weird for Curry to say this to his friend who he thinks has a girlfriend, and thus would already know this, but the fact he's talking about Ruka like she's not even there is insanely stupid, because if she was a real girlfriend, this would not work at all, since obviously she'd get pissed at him, since this is incredibly dehumanizing, and so you'd think he would try for something more natural here if he's trying to keep his secret, a secret.
Does your following me suggest that you're admitting it, phony boyfriend?
Good cliffhanger! You would think the next episode would be good building off that, right? So this one is pretty bad due to the lack of focus at the start, the middle having a lot of Kazuya stuff that is just hard to watch, and while it does try to raise the stakes at the end, the problem is that it is very, very poorly justified, which does make the conflict feel quite a lot weaker. I would love to tell you that the show gets better from here, but it doesn't. The next two are by far the worst episodes of the entire show, and I am looking forward to getting copyright struck for how many clips I'll need to rant about them. See you for episode 7!